Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 news. Big rumours emerging as to the future of Lewis Hamilton as he negotiates his contract with Mercedes. Some people seem to believe that Ferrari are going to try and nab him away to replace Carlos Sainz by offering him £40+ million. Is this actually a realistic option? Would he join Mercedes anyway, even if this was the case? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Apologies for no video yesterday. I'm going away to Toronto for a few days for an event, so it's going to be pretty busy. I'll do my best to cover everything around Monaco this weekend because it's definitely going to be hectic. Let's dive straight into things then. This from Alonso I thought was pretty funny, getting ready for the race this weekend, maybe looking for number 33, because if there's any track where if you nail qualifying you could hold on in the race, this is one of his best chances. A Monaco, a Singapore, that is probably two of the tracks that he's got the best chance on this season of actually getting a victory on the board, because everywhere else Red Bull are going to be very difficult to beat, and in qualifying that is Red Bull's vulnerability, if anything, compared to their race pace, largely because their front tyre warm-up is a bit of a more of a predicament when they've got this heavy anti-dive, anti-squat suspension, which is giving them so much pace, but it does limit their qualifying performance somewhat compared to the pure ceiling of that car. I will mention, because we talk about this every year we go to Monaco, some potential ideas to change around the track to make it better for overtaking. This is the one that I favour, to be honest, so you can see here we're coming out of the chicane, we're going down the hill and we're going into the tunnel. There is a roundabout here, okay, not exactly a roundabout, but you could potentially go left, swing it round right, and then go through the tunnel. Now this doesn't seem like much of a difference, but it would increase the speed in the tunnel somewhat, and it would mean that by the time you get to the chicane at the end of the tunnel, there's higher closing speed, there's more of an opportunity for a lunge, there's more of a chance for a slipstream and to make an overtake happen. I don't think it would do much, but it might be one way to try and improve the racing on the circuit. I don't think we're really going to see it, but if there was one small change I'd make it, it'd probably be that one, because I don't really think it affects safety much, but it could potentially improve the racing. Also an interesting kind of rumour and confirmation coming out about the situation with Red Bull and Ferrari. Rumours that all those three individuals that we discussed potentially leaving to go to Ferrari have been denied, right? I mean, they're not going to leave, they don't want to leave, and there's still situations with Laurent Mekies and where he's going to go to AlphaTauri and all of that stuff to get resolved, but yeah, it seems like what they tried to do is sell Laurent Mekies to Red Bull and get those guys in exchange at some senior engineers, and Red Bull were like, what are you thinking? You're not doing that, and obviously Adrian Newey isn't going anywhere either. There was also some further confirmation that Ferrari have said to Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, we are going to bring in some prominent big name engineers to this team, because that is, you know, trying to prove to Charles Leclerc that this is actually a good option. They're entering negotiations with Leclerc, we'll see that in a second, and they have to prove to Leclerc that they're going to be good in 2024, 25, and ideally 2026 as well, and nailing the new regulations, because if Charles Leclerc stays at Ferrari and they kill it when the new regs arrive in 26, he's made a great call. If he leaves before then, and then the team he joins doesn't do so well on the new regs, then he's got some problems, right? So that's the Ferrari side of the story. We'll get into more of that in a second. The other piece is, this is from the Daily Mail, so you've always got to take it with a major grain of salt, and some people have said there's some validity to this, some people have said this is like not going to happen at all, and to be honest, even if this is true, it's still not going to happen. Hamilton's going to be at Mercedes, 99.9% sure we can confirm that. We know that Toto, Wolff and Hamilton are in negotiations. Apparently they haven't really come to terms on what number they're really talking about yet, but Hamilton wants to drive for Mercedes. But he did make some comments kind of recently on what it would be like to drive for another team, and apparently Ferrari are set to offer Lewis Hamilton a £40 million deal, $50 million or so for the year, to race in red next season. So first of all, the question I have about this is, why would they bother, right? Why do Ferrari need to do this? They've got a perfectly capable number one driver in Charles Leclerc, and it's not Charles Leclerc's ability that's holding them back from winning championships. It's their car, right? Let's be honest here. They can bring in Hamilton, a great racer, experienced racer like Hamilton, put him up with Leclerc. They can take points off each other, right? And Leclerc can probably outdo him in qualifying. Hamilton would probably outdo him in the race. But, you know, whatever happens, you're not going to win a championship with Hamilton coming in. You've got to make your car better. So I don't really see the point in doing this fundamentally. And I think my favourite thing about this is always like the Photoshop memes you get with Hamilton in a Ferrari outfit. I've seen plenty of these over the last few years, and this is a pretty good one again. So yeah, I find that the most entertaining part about this. I don't imagine this is the case. They reckon that even a Leclerc-Hamilton swap could be possible, which is a very interesting concept. or Sainz could be out of the team. So, I mean, look, it's silly season, right? All this type of stuff goes around. I mean, it's not quite there yet, but here's another tweet, right, that says potentially this big deal is coming around. But Giuliano De Kester says it is not true. I'll post something soon if interested, and kind of going on to say, dropping up, the laughing emojis and stuff like this. So, look, I doubt this is going to be the case, but would Ferrari do this? Would you put out of the realms of possibility for Ferrari to try this? Like, I wouldn't necessarily. Leclerc to stay seems a no-brainer, right? I can't see, I mean, we mentioned it right there, that Hamilton-Leclerc swap. I don't really see how that makes sense really for either party. They want to get Hamilton his 8th world title over there at Mercedes. They're going to keep trying until they do, or Hamilton gets bored and gives up effectively, or feels like he's not able to really compete on that level any longer. And Leclerc, especially with the relationship he has with Fred Vasseur, the new team principal, it seems quite clear that he is also their plan for the future, and really Ferrari have to convince Leclerc to stay more so than trying to get Hamilton in for like, what, a 2-year deal, and then he might just leave anyway. So, I mean, look, obviously for many drivers it's a boyhood dream to drive for Ferrari. Hamilton's never done so. He's definitely looked at the Ferrari and thought, damn, that could be fun, but why would he even think that Ferrari give him a better chance, right? He wants to win the 8th title, won 6 with Mercedes, 1 with McLaren back in 2008. Is Ferrari going to be the team after the last time they won a World Drivers' Championship was back in 2007 with Kimi Räikkönen? Like, there's no real feeling there that they're going to provide the platform to do so, and it feels to me that Mercedes definitely have a better chance of delivering a package that can compete with Red Bull than Ferrari do at the present time. So I don't really think this makes sense for Hamilton. I don't really see why it makes sense for Ferrari, but I wouldn't put it past Ferrari to try something like this, because, I mean, we saw recently they were trying to do that 3-for-1 trade on the engineer side. Would they throw out a big deal like this to try and get Hamilton there? Maybe so, but Fulvio here says that this is not going to happen. He's going to be reaching a new 1+1, and he's definitely not saying goodbye to the company, and he says it's not even clickbait, it's just straight up false. So if this were to somehow magically become true, Sainz would then be gone from Ferrari, and I think he probably won't stay there for that much longer. I feel like a couple more years. We heard the rumours recently that Audi are very interested in getting Sainz in, given the relationships with his father, Carlos Sainz Sr., who drives for Audi and rally and stuff. So that's a possibility, but in the short term, probably not super relevant. However, as I did mention earlier, there have been some comments from Hamilton previously on what his next step might be. He says, I'd be lying if I said I never thought about ending my career anywhere else. I started at McLaren. I still like to think that I'd always be a part of the McLaren family. Like, I wonder what it would look like if I was still there. I've also thought about and watched the Ferrari drivers on the screens at the track, and of course you wonder what it would be like to be in red. But then I go to my team, to Mercedes, this is my home, I'm happy where I am, etc, etc. So based on these words, I think it's quite clear that at some point Wolff and Hamilton will strike a deal. They'll get the numbers figured out, and Hamilton will stay for a rather long time, not necessarily just as a driver, but also as like a brand ambassador. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a part of Hamilton that's like, oh, drive for Ferrari for a year, that'd be kind of fun. But, leaving Mercedes to do so doesn't seem like the right move for either party, especially when Mercedes are bringing in a new concept now. I guess in part it'll be like, does Hamilton like the direction Mercedes are taking? Does he have confidence over the next couple of months that their upgrade is going to take them to where they need to be? Or does he somehow have more confidence in Ferrari, which doesn't seem like the correct choice, if anything. But Toto Wolff's also trying like every trick in the book to keep him around anyway, because there's rumours emerging that they're going to spend about 70 million on a brand new facility in Brackley to make it kind of Silicon Valley style, like a Parkland style, and just make the conditions better for the workers, which is pretty cool stuff, to be fair. And this is one of the nice things. Okay, it's nice in some parts for the cost cap, because the cost cap means you can't spend money on on-track stuff or actually paying the staff more as maybe you would like to, but what you can do is spend a lot of money on facilities. That's not covered in the cost cap, right? So you're allowed to do that. Red Bull, I think, announced something like this recently as well. Mercedes are following suit. So, just kind of shows their indication of their commitment to still be where they need to be. And in fairness, I mean, they're still spending a lot less money than they used to be before the cost cap came around. The other side of the argument, of course, here is on the Charles Leclerc side. Rumours are emerging that he's already talking with Ferrari about contract renewal. My question is, how long is this renewal going to be? How much confidence does he have in the future of that car, the car concept, and also the team at large? If he signs a 1-year extension, that doesn't show confidence, right? He might sign a 1+1, might sign a 2+1. I wouldn't be surprised if he has some sort of 2-year extension with maybe an option to stay on, depending on where they get to, because right now it doesn't really seem like Leclerc to Mercedes or anything is an option in the very near term. But it must be said that if he only signs a very short-term deal, which he probably will, I think he will be staying at Ferrari next season, but if he only signs a short-term deal, it doesn't really indicate maximum confidence in the future of that project, and you can understand if that was the case. They are apparently discussing about the competitiveness of the car, and John Elkann's going to be there in Maranello for a few days to try and talk to Leclerc and get him to stay on and promise him like, oh yeah, we're going to bring in this engineer, we're going to bring in that engineer, and it's all going to be fine. They're probably not going to bring in Lewis Hamilton, and that is their plan for turning this around. So I think maintaining Leclerc is a necessity, and spending all this money to get Hamilton for really no reason when you really should be spending that money on improving the car and bringing in more engineers and doing what it takes to make that happen should probably be the primary focus, because Leclerc is a race-winning driver. He definitely has potential. In terms of a championship quality caliber driver, I don't think he's quite there yet with the mistakes and the crashes and stuff like this. I think he can get there. I think Hamilton would be more likely over a season to put up a fight at the top of a championship than Charles Leclerc would right now, but doesn't matter what Hamilton you've got in the car. If the car isn't good enough, it doesn't matter regardless. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I will see you next time.